Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting the like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from the True Off My Chest subreddit from Relative Young 9037 and says, my parents invited their friends on a family vacation and now I don't want to go. This post will probably be long and I'll try not to ramble too much and hope that this post is easy to follow, but I'm not sure how to handle the situation at hand, so I need advice. For context, my parents are swingers. I found out about them being swingers right after I graduated high school in 2016. I've never really had an opinion on the matter until recently. I don't care what they do behind closed doors, but I personally don't want to see it in person. I'm sure that makes me sound like a bad person, but I've always accepted them for who they are. It's honestly just really weird to see my parents make out with other people when they're around a group of people. Anyways, they're in a relationship with another couple, and I've been with them for almost 2 years. They, being the older couple, just recently moved in with my parents because they lost their house and couldn't find another place in time. My parents kicked my sister, her fiance, and their baby out of the basement in order to give their friends the space and put my sister, her fiance, and baby upstairs in one bedroom to share, which is a small 12 by 12 room. The friends have also stated that they are another set of grandparents for my niece and call themselves grandma, insert name, and papa, insert name. My sister and her fiance are not comfortable with this, but my parents and their friends don't seem to care because they're all together as one. Now, onto the vacation. We were supposed to go to our first family vacation last year, October 2021, but it ended up getting pushed back to April of this year due to costs because of my wedding, which everyone was fine with. It then got pushed back again because my sister was in her third trimester of her pregnancy and couldn't fly. It is now scheduled for February of 2023. My parents told my sister and I, along with our SOs, that they would be bringing their friends along on the vacation, and I'm frustrated about it, to be honest. With the way they've been handling things with my sister and with all of their PDA, it's made me not want to go anymore. It's our first ever family vacation, like I've already mentioned, and I wanted it to just be family. I'm at a loss and I'm not sure how to handle the situation, and I or we don't want to upset my parents about how I and everyone else, my husband, sister and brother-in-law, feel. Any advice? Edit. I'm married and do not live at home anymore. Although my sister, her fiance and baby do. They're currently looking for places. We live in a state where cost of living is super high, like a lot of places right now. And with them only having one income, it's harder for them to find something. Hopefully that clears things up. Edit 2. I didn't expect this to get as much attention as it did, and I've been reading each comment and taking advice, so thank you. I'm fully aware that my parents are adults and can do what they want. I never once said that they couldn't. And I never said I wasn't against their relationship with this other couple. They refer to themselves as swingers, but yes, you could also say they're in a polyamorous relationship. The issue I have is how they shove it down everyone's throats. I don't care what they do in private behind closed doors, but once I see the PDA and the other things they do to each other when people are around, that's where I get uncomfortable around the situation. They have a calendar on the fridge that says what nights they will swap beds and sleep with the other person. Example, my mum and the other woman move between my dad and the other guy. There are also times where they make sexual jokes about screwing each other or randomly flash each other when we are around. Like, at least wait until people aren't there to do those things. That's the part I'm not okay with. Now for myself, I'd be uncomfortable in that situation as well, and I wouldn't be attending that family gathering. But some of the things that jumped out to me is like that they're forcing themselves almost to be grandparents, even though your sister's uncomfortable with it. That they moved out your sister into a one bedroom when they got a baby, like they're prioritizing this couple over their own daughter. Randomly flashing each other when you guys are around. I mean, come on. But Dextra Style says, your parents sound incredibly demanding and childish. I wouldn't go at all, point blank. Tell them. Your parents strike me as the type of people who do shitty things, don't care about how anyone else feels, and cover it all by saying nonsense like, I'm just living my best life. This is so bizarre by so many degrees. Opie says it's so bizarre. I truly love my parents and I know it would hurt them if I tell them I'm not going. But it makes me so uncomfortable on so many levels to see them do things with another person. I think I'm going to talk to them, and if they decide they're still taking them, I'll tell them I'm not going. Thank you for your comment. A Herd of Fluff says, if I were you, I'd invite them out somewhere for coffee or lunch or whatever without their friends. Explain that I appreciate that they see me enough as an adult that they were able to be honest about their relationship with the other couple. But with that being said, I'd hope that they can understand though how nobody wants to have their partner's sexual relationships on display in front of them. I'd tell them that I'm uncomfortable with this new couple and do not view them as family regardless of the relationship they currently have with them. The upcoming trip was to be a family vacation, and in light of all that is going on, it is no longer something that will be a fun trip with my family, and I will no longer be joining them. Let them be upset. They've decided who they want to spend time with. Upset Custard says, I think you and your sister, as well as SOs, need to have a united front on this. You both need to confront your parents and tell them if they keep insisting on these people go, then 4 of you are not. Roman says they're in a relationship with your parents, not with you. Not with your sister or her family. They are not pseudo-parents or grandparents, they're not even step-parents. Make clear your boundaries, that you wish to be on vacation with parents only. If that doesn't work for them, then you know exactly where they stand and can make the decision to either take it or not. This is the hill I'd die on, to be honest. The decision to open their marriage to other partners should not have impacted their existing relationships with their children. I find that appalling. And one more from Kat, who says, there's a lot here about not wanting to upset your parents. Why? They don't seem at all bothered about upsetting you or your sister, and in fact are behaving very inappropriately. Their sex friends want to be grandparents. No. Get on the same page as your sister and tell your parents that these people are family friends, yes, but not family, and you won't accept them being treated as family. The OP does update the post and says, hi everyone. A few weeks ago I made a post about my parents inviting their friends on a family vacation and said I'd give an update after I talked to my parents. Well, I did, and it didn't go well. Also, sorry the update took so long. I've been struggling with the outcome really badly and I needed time to write it all out. So, on to the update. I brought up all of my feelings to my parents and they weren't very happy. They asked why I never brought it up, and I told them that it was because I was fine with everything until I started seeing it. And that's when it made me uncomfortable. Now they think I don't accept them for who they are, and they don't really see an issue with inviting their friends or doing other things with their friends in front of everyone else around. My mum basically said that what they do is none of my business or anyone else's, and they can do what they want. Which is true, they're adults and can do what they want. But some of the other things they do should be in private settings, and not for others to see. They also consider their girlfriend and boyfriend to be family, again, which is fine. I know many people do. And since it's a family vacation, they're still inviting them, regardless of how everyone feels about it. I just want to be with my parents for once without their friends being there, and having them be all over each other. They also say no issue with their friends calling themselves grandparents to my niece. I got upset and told them my husband and I would not be attending the vacation, and they could take someone else. And until they understand where I'm coming from, I would not be going around. So for the time being, my parents are being cut off. I'm very sad about the outcome, and it makes me sad that they would choose their friends over their own child. But to each their own, I guess. Thank you for all the comments. I read every single one of them. Even if I didn't comment back, I still read them. There were some very nice supporting ones that really helped, and also some not very nice ones that also helped. So thank you all. Gee whiz, and I get what they're saying that, it's none of anyone else's business or whatever, but if you're openly flashing each other in front of your kids, then yeah, that does make it everyone else's business in my opinion. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And this story is from Grad Throwaway 23 that says, am I the arsehole for ruining my daughter's graduation? My daughter and I have been estranged for about 5 years now and have recently reconnected and are working on slowly repairing our relationship. As part of this, she's been airing out various grievances she's been holding against me all these years, as she doesn't think holding on to them is conducive to a healthy relationship. A lot of these things are petty teenage grievances I can't believe she hasn't let go of yet, but one of them stuck out to me. I mentioned it to my husband and he expressed disbelief and disappointment in me for my actions at the time. I maintain that I didn't do anything wrong, but his reaction has me curious. Her email to me about the situation. My graduation was another thing. I don't know if you remember, but you refused to let Gran come even though I told you how much I wanted her there because of how she'd supported me throughout uni. When I told you I invited her, you said you wouldn't come if she was there, so I had to disinvite her by lying about there being a limit on tickets per person. As if that wasn't bad enough, you and Daddy refused to sit with each other, take pictures with me, or even go out for a celebratory meal afterwards. I have one picture from my graduation. One. And it wasn't even the professional one. It was just one my friend took on her phone. I don't think you and Dad dealt with your split very well at all in regards to your children, but it really hurt me that you, the both of you, would be so selfish about that. I just wanted one afternoon. For background, I'm estranged from my own mother, and I've split up with her father. She says it was selfish of me to not allow my mother to attend her graduation or to spend extra time with her father, but I think it was selfish of her to ask that of me. It's bad enough that she continues to keep in contact with her grandmother when I asked her not to. Anyway, I want to know if I was really the arsehole here. ETA, though I disagree that my feelings weren't even worthy of consideration in this situation, would it not been best if asked me for compromise? For example, I would attend the graduation and she could have had a celebratory meal with her father and grandmother separately afterwards. But I can see that the overwhelming consensus is that, in this instance, I was the arsehole to my daughter. Fine. I'll apologize again. And from that little ETA at the end there, you can already see where this post is going to go down the arsehole route. And, I totally agree. You made the day about yourself. The fact that you consider this a petty teenage grievance in the first place and you can't believe she hasn't let go of it yet makes you an arsehole in itself. That you haven't stepped back from the situation and saying, why is she hurting so much from this? Because you've made this day about you. But Small Kangaroo says, yeah, you're the arsehole. Your mother supported her through school and you think you deserve to be more important than someone who actually played a massive part in her life. You didn't have to talk to people, you could just act like a grown-up. If you want to be a parent, then be her parent. If a photo or sitting together is too much to ask, then you are immature and a pretty shitty parent. To be honest, if you had pulled that shit with me, you wouldn't have been invited and I would have kept my grandmother there. Naboth says, you're the arsehole. You took a moment in her life and made it about you. I feel bad for your daughter. You need to take the gift that she's giving you about trying to talk these things out and learn from it. Apologize and mean it. Toss Me Away Again replies that and says, agreed. My dad ran around on my mum because that's just what businessmen in the 80s did. She eventually got tired of it and left, and he spent a fortune on a fancy lawyer to beat a publicly funded lawyer to avoid a fortune in alimony. Because that was also what businessmen in the 80s did. She hated his guts, and he hated her for ruining his perfect businessman family image. I knew nothing of this because my parents were grown-ups who didn't bring their kids into their problems, and he did pay child support quite generously at least. They sat in front row of my college graduation, smiled in photos, and interacted cordially throughout, because that's what grown-ups do. You're the arsehole, OP. Act like a grown-up. Taylor Lee says you're the arsehole, it's not about you. If you can't grasp this by now, your reconciliation with your daughter is likely to stall and fall apart. Get your head on straight and realize that you are being incredibly selfish here. Now I'm really curious what these other grievances are. And one more comment from Don't Worry About It who says you're the arsehole. First off, I read some of your responses. I'd like to point you to rule 3. You need to accept your judgment, but instead you keep arguing with everyone. Face it, you're an arsehole and a narcissist. I'd email your daughter and say you're not ready to enter her life again. You can't accept your wrongdoing, so no progress will be made. You made your daughter's important day all about you. Graduation is a huge milestone. It's far from petty that your daughter is still upset about it. It's a day she'll never get back. There's no fixing it. It's permanently ruined because you couldn't be mature. You couldn't put your daughter first. Your daughter has every right to talk to her grandmother, and she has every right to invite her to the graduation. You have an estranged relationship both with your daughter and your mother. The common denominator is you. I hope you figure your shit out. It sucks having an estranged parent. I feel for your daughter. I gave my father a second chance and he ruined it, and I'm not planning on giving him another chance. You probably don't want to end up in the same position. OP came into this post 4 years later to update and says, hi, it's been a while and I'm not sure if anyone would even care at this point, but I accidentally logged into my throwaway on an old laptop and remembered this. Quite frankly, I'm embarrassed and ashamed to reread my original post. My attitude was terrible, and it's one of those moments I could go back in time and shake some sense into my past self. As many people in the comments predicted, I no longer have a relationship of any kind with my daughter or 2 of my other kids. COVID and lockdowns did a number on our family, I'll just say that. I've been doing a lot of reflecting and therapy over the last year, and I realised I've not been the kind of mother my children have needed in their lives. I have no contact with my daughter now, who is married and moved abroad now, and from her wishes, this will not be changing anytime soon. I also have very little contact with 2 of my other children. My relationship with my final child is strained, and I'm doing everything I can not to break it. After having logged into this account again and seeing that post, I find myself desperately wishing to go back in time, and maybe I could have stopped the breaking of my family if I'd behaved differently here. I don't really know what I want to say here, maybe just hopefully encourage one person who has been deemed the arsehole to reflect sooner rather than later, and maybe their lives won't go the same way as mine. ETA, I'm going to log out of this account now. This account again now. Maybe I'll pop in again in another 4 years with better news. Thank you for the comments and advice I've received, and to those who think I'm beyond redemption, I truly hope you were wrong. And look, for me, the first post is a sad and awful read, but I gotta say, I appreciate the reflection on this post. I appreciate that they've done a lot of self-reflection and they've gone to therapy and try to be better for themselves and future relationships that they have potentially with their children, maybe one day, maybe not. Even if the sad possibility of it all is that maybe it's too late. And it sounds like OP has made more positive steps in their life, which again, the whole situation is sad overall, but I think it's good for them because the alternative is that they still have the same attitude that they had 4 years ago and potentially damaging further relationships around them, which would just be a sad thing, right? But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's have one more story from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. From Revolutionary Idea 203 and says, am I the arsehole for telling my sister if she doesn't go to the funeral due to her fear of dead people, she will blow up all her relationships? My sister and I are pretty close, and we were friends with Kat. Kat recently passed away and had a funeral viewing this weekend. My sister Sammy has a fear of the dead. She strongly believes in ghosts and even has trouble with any meat due to her beliefs. I called her up and told her I can pick her up on Saturday since I knew she was having car trouble. She informed me she will not be going. I asked why and she told me she can't be around a ghost. I asked if she was joking and I told her she can just stand in the back but everyone is expecting her to go. We are close friends with the family. I told her she needs to go or she will blow up all her relationships including me. She said that won't happen. I told her that family will never forgive her and I don't think I will either since we have known her for years. She hung up and I got a call from my mum for making her cry and being a jerk for telling her what will happen if she doesn't go. But Nicolao says, you're the arsehole. You can't judge her beliefs and fears like that. She has no obligation to go to a funeral. Honestly, as someone who recently lost 2 grandparents, no one in the family pays attention to who is or isn't attending the funeral. Another thing, she can show how much she cared about Kat to Kat's family in other ways than going to the funeral. But the worst part was, you said about her blowing up relationships. You put psychological pressure on her to make her feel guilty and anguish for not doing something you think is right. Air of Ravenclaw says, yeah, you're the arsehole. Regardless of how ridiculous her fear is, it's not your place to decide what she does and does not attend. She doesn't want to go, so you threaten a relationship with you. You're going to stop talking to your sister because she didn't attend a friend's funeral. Sounds like she's not losing much, to be honest. She can pay her respects in a way she is comfortable and doesn't have to attend the funeral to appease you. If people are willing to blow up their relationship over this, they aren't people worth knowing anyways. You're the arsehole. Beyblade says, you're the arsehole. Funerals are supposed to bring comfort to those who are close to the deceased, not the other way around. Your sister has a phobia, a medical condition. Forcing her to go will only hurt her. Someone who is already hurting after losing a friend. She's not going to bring any comfort to the family either if she has a breakdown at the funeral. A lot of people aren't mentally able to attend funerals for their loved ones. It doesn't mean they love them any less. If you really want to support your sister, you could encourage her, kindly and gently, to seek professional help with her phobia. And one more from Abby Katz who says, not the arsehole, and these you're the arsehole ones are frankly pretty crazy. Catering to superstitions when you're clearly in the right here isn't something you should have to deal with. Ghosts don't exist, the rational fears do. Your sister has an irrational fear which is preventing her from doing the right thing and attending the wake and funeral services. You're right that her crazy streak here will affect relationships. I couldn't attend your daughter's funeral because her ghost was there. Sounds crazy and like an excuse. You're bound to get looks. Family will look down on her for skipping out on the funeral because ghosts. That's crazy talk and should not be deemed rational. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, you just